Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Give a Day to LUMS Telethon. And when we say give a day to LUMS, primarily we mean salary. In addition to that, give your expertise, give your opinion, or any value that you can add. This is the first ever telethon that we are doing. And this year, the LUM story is 35 years old. And inshallah, we have many more decades to go. You and I may not be here, but great universities outlive mortals like us and they live on for centuries, as we've seen. Hence, we must play our humble role in contributing as much as we can. And today's telethon is for the alumni and more importantly, by the alumni and some faculty members. So, this Give a Day to LUMS campaign was started back in April. The idea was to reach out to all the alumni across the world and to raise funds. But first things first, let me start by introducing the Director of Advancement LUMS and her team. Nuzhat Kamran has been instrumental in putting these things together, this campaign together. She herself is a LUMS graduate of the very first batch, MBA 1988. Nuzhat, thank you for joining us. A very warm welcome to you and your team. And over to you for their introduction.
Well, thank you so much, Adil. Thank you for the introduction. Yes, I'm a proud graduate of LUMS and from the very first batch. So, mera rishta LUMS ke saath bahut special hai. You know, I take pride in that. And I have one of my faculty members sitting right here who taught us all that we know about marketing. So I'd just like to give you a brief synopsis of what this campaign is about. This was Syed Babar Ali's idea, and we're really honored that he's joined us for this session also. And basically, the idea is that we have over 15,000 alumni now, around 15,500 alumni to be more precise, all over the world who are doing extremely well. And the idea was that if they could give just one day's salary in a year to LUMS, and that would collectively make a huge difference for the lives of so many students who are on financial assistance here. And we started in April, like you said, till the morning today, we had raised about 23 million rupees. But the afternoon session of the telethon generated another, 6.5 million rupees. And now we're very close to 30 million. And we hope to take this to another level with the session that's starting now. I'd like to just congratulate a few classes who've done gone all out to support us in this. So in terms of the number of alumni that have participated from each batch, the lead is by the BSc class of 2015, followed closely by 2013, 14, 17, 12, 2009, and finally the MBA class of 2013. And then as far as amounts go, the class that's leading the whole effort is BSc 2003, followed closely by BSc 1999, MBA 1989, MBA 2002, and BSc 2013. But I'd like to thank them and all the other alumni who've come forward and supported this campaign and brought the funds to this level. So I'd just like to share something here that all the donations that come to LUMS are tax exempt, and we have a special option for zakat as well. So you can donate to the Give a Day to LUMS campaign, or you can donate to the Give a Day to LUMS zakat campaign. So it's both the options exist. We encourage you to go to the portal, the giving portal, and donate there. I'll just take another 2-3 minutes to introduce all the team members who've really put in a lot of effort to make this campaign a success. I'll start with Sadaf Rahman. Sadaf, could you please introduce yourself?
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I am Sadaf Rahman. I'm the Partnerships Liaison with the Office of Advancement here at LUMS. I'm also a LUMS alumni from the undergrad class of 2003 and the executive MBA class of 2016. And LUMS played such a huge part of who I am. I wanted to support LUMS so that others could have the same memories and opportunities that I got. And this was just my way of helping give back. I am so proud that my undergrad batch is one of the largest contributors to this campaign. And contributions are much needed because, 1 in 3 students is on some form of aid, and that makes LUMS super unique.
Thank you, Sadaf. Saad, could you go next, please?
Ji, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, Nuzul. So my name is Ahmad Qureshi and I'm a part of Office of Advancement LUMS. It has been a privilege to be a part of this campaign and talk to our alumni and different donors because we have been contributing towards this campaign. Your contributions obviously matter. Last year, we were able to distribute around close to 1 billion rupees in financial aid to the students, and all this has been possible due to generous financial support of our donors. We look forward to receiving your generous contributions, and me and my team are here to support and guide you in any way that is needed. Thank you so much.
Okay, Ali, can you go next, please?
Ji, Assalamu alaikum ji. This is Ali Raza and I'm a part of the advancement team at LUMS. It's an honor to be a part of such a great team and the LUMS community. I just want to share a very interesting fact with you guys that since inception, LUMS has disbursed around 7 billion rupees in providing financial assistance to academically brilliant but financially underprivileged students. So I would request everyone to please step forward and help LUMS achieve its goal to provide world-class education to these students. We have been receiving tremendous response from our alumni and we look forward to their continued support. Thank you.
Thank you. Wajahat, please.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Wajahat. I'm a part of Office of Advancement at LUMS, and everyone knows that LUMS is a symbol of excellence in Pakistan's education sector. So I would like to share that over 851 NOP scholars have graduated to date. So please donate more to support for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Amar, please.
Hi everyone, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Amar bin Salim and I'm a member of the marketing team at the Advancement Office of LUMS. I've had the pleasure of speaking with many of LUMS alumni spread across multiple countries and continents, and they have generated very generously to the cause through this campaign. It is my privilege to let you know that at LUMS, we have student representation from more than 140 different cities, towns, and villages. And inshallah, with your support, we are going to extend our support to the other students in the country.
Thank you, Amar. Irfan, please.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Irfan Lateef from Alumni Relations and part of Advancement team. I am very happy to share that this year alumni donations have increased by 125%. A big thank you to our alumni, and I request you all to come forward and contribute towards this cause. Thank you.
Thank you. And now the guiding spirit behind this entire campaign, Marwa Mohakam Sheikh, please.
Thank you so much, Nuzul. I just want to say actually that the real guiding spirit behind this campaign has been all of you, our alumni. It's such a source of happiness for me to tell you that our alumni have raised over 100 million rupees this past year and donated it to LUMS. And the telethon today, this campaign is evidence of that. So please just continue to take today as an opportunity to pay it forward and keep the support coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Marwa. So before I hand it over to you, Adil, just a quick note of thanks to all the people who've been working behind the scenes to make this successful. I'd like to thank Khuzaima Fatma, Aisha Shirazi, Najam Gulbaz, Muhammad Ali, Abdul Majid, Minahil Khalid, Aisha Fatma, Naveed Khalid, Nadeem Fazil from IST, Ali Bhatt from IST, Ali Naqvi from the Learning Institute, and of course, Aisha Zafar. So thank you so much, all of you. And I'd like to mention just one fact, and I'm sure our alumni would be happy to know that the LUMS National Outreach Program has been globally acclaimed as the best program in diversity, equity, and inclusion by the Council and for the support and advancement of education, which is called CASE. So I think that's a matter of pride for all of us at LUMS. So over to you, Adil. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that, Nuzhat, and what a wonderful team and what wonderful work and great vibes and great positivity. So thank you so much for that. And as I will drill throughout this session, you know what the work that these people are doing is not a destination, it is a journey, an ongoing journey. And we're proud and honored to have with us today, in no particular order, we have Dr. Ehsanul Haq. डॉक्टर एहसान साहब का लंबा तारुफ है, एक जुमला काफ़ी है, मार्केटिंग गुरु हैं. तो आप में से जो साथी आगे मार्केटिंग पढ़ना सीखना चाहते हैं, फौरन इनके दर्शन करें और इनके चरणों में जाकर बैठ जाएं. So that's his introduction. Dr. Arshad Ahmed, the Vice Chancellor, is here. And my guess is, Dr. Arshad, in the last year and a half, through COVID, I guess this post should be called the Wise Chancellor, through the challenges that you face. So thank you for guiding us. And of course, last but not least, we have Sayyid Babar Ali, बाबर साहब ने कहा कि मेरे पास बहुत कम वक्त है इस वक्त शाम को, क्योंकि मुझे सोना होता है इस वक्त. बाबर साहब, thank you so much. Eternally grateful for your time. But I'll start with Babar Sahab. Babar Sahab, so many alumni are watching, over 15,000 of them spread across the world. My complaints to you is, why only one day? Tell them and tell us, अरे भाई ये तो हफ्ते में एक या महीने में एक करो, ये थोड़ा ही है कि साल में एक करो. It's just too little. We've lost so much ground in 7 decades. You know, we need to speed things up. Babar Sahab?
No, I think one day a year and every day for the rest of their lives, I think is something which is very important, and we'll be very, very grateful if they stick to it. And I can tell you, once you start giving, you'll feel, you know, that you're not done enough. You'll continue to do it every year. But I'd like to share something with you, which came as a total surprise to me. You know, we have an international advisory board consisting of people from Harvard, MIT, Stanford, and universities around the world, including a university from Moscow and from Western Australia. And they were telling me that they were not aware of any university in the world who would guarantee financial aid to anybody who was to get in. So that, correct me, Dr. Arshad, if this is not correct, they said they were not aware of any university in America also who would guarantee that once you get in, you are accepted, and they will provide you the financial aid, which we are doing. So this is something which is unique, and I hope we can continue to do it, but there will come, I hope that time will never come that we can't afford it. As you say, that it's over a billion rupees a year that we are giving in terms of financial aid. And I can tell you, all the money that is flowing in by way of various supports is only less than half of what we are giving out in the year. So every year, more than half of this 1 billion rupees is given by LUMS itself. So we need to bridge this gap of what is given already by various donors, for which we are very grateful, but it's not enough. And if we can reach out to all our alumni around the world, as you say, there are over 18,000, and if they were to give one day, so the gap would be filled up very quickly. But we need to follow it up, and I hope this exercise that we're doing tonight and will continue to do in the future will help us bridge this gap. But I can tell you, it's so heartening to see the people who have had financial aid, especially the NOPs. They are all over the world, and at least 20 of the people that I have funded have gone for their PhD to top universities of the world. So and only about 70 of them have already graduated, the ones that were funded by my foundation. And there are over 800, and I would say that of the 800, more than 100 would have done their PhD in top universities of the world. So and you are making, giving a new life to the whole family or to the whole clan, the ones that come to LUMS. So I don't think there is a better way of your sharing your largesse with anybody else than the NOP. Thank you very much.
Dr. Ehsan and Dr. Arshad, I'm going to make you wait a few more minutes because I'm not done with Babar Sahab just as yet. Babar Sahab, this afternoon when we did the session, we had about 7 or 8 or 9 alumni who had contributed, and he had mobilized people. Now, at least 4 of them themselves were on financial aid when they graduated, and suddenly 10 years later, 20 years later, they were in a position where they could mobilize funds and raise funds for LUMS. So that was most interesting for me and most heartening for me. So my question to you would be, what are or is the responsibility of an alumnus, someone who graduates and then becomes a professional, and then money starts pouring in, status starts pouring in, you have a house and a car and all of that, but the responsibility is ongoing. What is the responsibility of the alumni considering that they are graduates of LUMS? What would you tell them?
Well, I would say that, they need to be reminded. I think, Nuzat, you have to keep on reaching out to them regularly, at least 2 to 3 times a year. Every alumnus has to be contacted because they are much too busy doing their own things, and they have to be reminded that LUMS is waiting for their largesse. They are all very willing to give, but you need to keep on reminding them. And I've seen that happen by other private universities all around the world, that they keep on reminding their alumnus. I know a colleague of mine, his daughter was at Brown, and not only is the daughter getting the reminder, the father is getting a reminder also, and they were not on financial aid. So you need to reach out to the parents of the students also. So there is a lot of work that needs to be done by our by you and your colleagues, and you need to sort of reach out to those people. Thank you very much, Adil. I think I've run out of my time now, and I wish you well. I hope everything goes well, and wish you success. And I apologize for taking off because it's time for me to hit the hay.
Thank you, sir. Stay safe, stay healthy, and Allah करे कि आपका साया हमारे सर पर हमेशा सलामत रहे. God bless you, and thank you for taking our time for us today. God bless you.
Good luck to all of you.
Good luck to everybody. Good luck to everybody. डॉक्टर अरशद को तो मुझे मालूम है कि उनको तो हम रोक लेंगे काफी देर तक. डॉक्टर एहसान के साथ चूंकि जरा बेतकल्लुफी कम है. डॉक्टर एहसान 35 years at LUMS, almost as old as LUMS. तो ऐसी क्या खास बात थी लम्स में? अरे भाई और बहुत से इदारे थे. व्हाट हैपेंड कि एक ही जगह आपको दिल किया कि अरे भाई ये जगह ऐसी है कि यहाँ पे 35 बरस जिंदगी की गुजारने चाहिए. टेक अस थ्रू दैट, एंड देन आई हैव अनदर क्वेश्चन फॉर यू एंड फॉर डॉक्टर अरशद.
जरूर. It's interesting when I interviewed at LUMS उस वक्त and at that time Exxon, now it is Anglo, but I think it was the meeting with Javed Hamid which was amazing. I had heard about LUMS when I was a student at Wharton, और वहाँ पे एक बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग डिबेट होती थी कि वॉर्टन बेहतर है या स्टैनफोर्ड बेहतर है या हार्वर्ड बेहतर है. ये हमेशा झगड़ा चलता रहता था स्टूडेंट्स में. सो जब मैं यहाँ पहुंचा पहले दिन लम्स में, सो वहाँ जावेद हामिद एंड हिज ब्रदर नवेद हामिद वाज देयर, एंड आई वाज वेरी स्केप्टिकल. हमारा ख्याल था कि कोई नया फ्रॉड हो रहा है पाकिस्तान में. So when I met him, it turned out to be that Javed was from Harvard and Naved was from Stanford, and I was shocked. मैंने कहा अच्छा ये तो serious मामला लगता है. So it was such a exciting idea, and I think to some extent, as far as I'm concerned, मेरे ख्याल में it is something to do with inferiority complex. जब हम इंजीनियरिंग यूनिवर्सिटी में थे, मुझे याद है हम पढ़ाई वगैरह तो करते थे, लेकिन हमें हमेशा शुबा होता था कि शायद बेहतर यूनिवर्सिटी जो है वो अमेरिका ही में ही है, पाकिस्तान में नहीं है. अच्छी पढ़ाई वहीं होती है. So when I went to America and I went to a pretty decent place, तो वहां जाके मुझे एहसास हुआ कि इंजीनियरिंग यूनिवर्सिटी इतनी बुरी भी नहीं है. हम खामखा एक इंफीरियरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स का शिकार हैं. बट द आइडिया वाज कि दिस इज समथिंग दैट वी शुड बी एबल टू डू इन पाकिस्तान, and that was exciting. And when I met Said Babar Ali and then other people, it was just no looking back. मैं बल्कि आज सुबह ही मैं बात कर रहा था, आई विल नॉट, एक जगह पर जब मैं I had left Schlumberger, I was in Middle East and earning pretty handsomely, और मुझे लोग यही कहते थे कि तुमने बड़ी गलती की. अब हम जब मिलते हैं तो हम कहते हैं कि भाई क्या अचीव किया तुमने जिंदगी में. तो उनके पास प्लॉट्स होते हैं, मेरे पास लम्स होता है. So I'm very happy, I think, and they also feel jealous.
Very quickly, Dr. Ehsan, मुझे आपने एक दुखती रग मेरी छेड़ दी. I had an English teacher, शाइस्ता सिराज, her father, Professor सिराज, जिनके नाम के ऊपर लाइब्रेरी है, courtesy बाबर साहब of Aitchison College. when he died, I think it's about 15, 20 years ago, when he died, an article appeared on him in a newspaper. And I read that article, Professor Siraj, and he died with 248 rupees in his bank account and 50,000 books in his library. And I remember saying, that's the way to die. That's the way to die. Everyone. So Allah आपको लंबी जिंदगी दे, plot slot तो ये रह जाएंगे, but the association with LUMS would be fantastic. So thank you for that. But stay with us because I still have some questions for you. But we have three more friends with us, guests with us. We have Aisha Naveed, MBA 1988, Naveed Sharif, MBA 1988, or Musaid Haneef Sahab, MBA 1988. All the graduates of the very first batch. So we have a lot of firsts today. Ji, Assalamu alaikum. If I can start with Musaid Haneef Sahab. Musaid Sahab, Assalamu alaikum. And why did you think ये campaign जो है, it is an important enough campaign to be a part of? What made you become a part of this campaign? अरे भाई 1988 में graduation हो गई, अब LUMS जाने काम जाने, but what brought you back? What is it about LUMS that brings people back?
Now, of course, is a very deep-rooted, connection with LUMS, and whatever we are today, it has a lot of contribution, and we must contribute back. There's no doubt about it, and we've been trying to do whatever is possible for us. But Nusrat and all the team and Sayyid Babari's initiative, that bringing back the alumni there, and giving them more motivation about it. I was just hearing on the Facebook also, with the Babari Sahab was saying, Nusrat should about twice a year should at least jog up the memory of people and, bring them back together. So it's a great, giving back is always a great player, and, it's gives you a great satisfaction as well. And we have an obligation to do that.
Obligation or responsibility के तो जादू ये कि इंसान महसूस करे तो वो आती, otherwise one doesn't feel obligated. But we have Aisha and Naveed also. Aisha Sahiba and Naveed Sahab, why is this campaign important to you? What brought you back? ऐसी क्या चीज थी कि वापस दिल किया कह रहे भाई नहीं भाई कुछ लिया था तो कुछ वापस देना चाहिए? What is that thing?
पार्टनर, मैं तो पिछले तकरीबन 15 साल से लम्स आ रहा हूँ. हर 6 महीने बाद अपने बच्चों की फीसें देता हूँ. मेरे तो अभी 4 बच्चे हैं, चारों लम्स में हैं, अभी 2 अभी भी हैं. तो मैं तो हमेशा लम्स के कदमों में पड़ा होता हूँ और चल रहा हूँ.
I'm just gonna cut you short for 2 seconds. अपने बच्चों की जो फीसें हैं, they don't count. दूसरों के बच्चों की फीसें count. Dr. Arshad, correct me if I'm wrong.
नहीं, but नहीं, I would like to pitch in here. क्योंकि आई थिंक लम्स कभी छोड़ा ही नहीं. जो बात होती है ना कि लम्स वापस क्यों आए, मेरे हिसाब से लम्स हमने कभी छोड़ा ही नहीं था. So I think for me that is the sentiment, and बच्चों की फीसें aside, that's Naveed's department, and so that side we have I think we have all through really tried to. I will always say tried to. जब STSV की building बन रही थी, we tried to put in whatever little we could, and then abhi hamari class 1988 has also committed to an endowment fund where we are going to sponsor an MBA student with that. So, and I am trying to अभी भी मैं नुज़रत जो कर रही है वो मैं अपने क्लास फेलोज को हाउंड कर रही हूँ कि पैसे दो. So my job is quite similar to that, and so I think as far as LUMS, whatever LUMS has done for us, we can never repay. And हमने तो अपने चारों बच्चे भी लम्स को दे दिए. So I think that's apart on the monetary thing, we've also done that part too. So that's how it's working for us. And I think in the
मैं इंटरप्ट कर सकता हूँ. ये छुपा रहे हैं. लम्स ने इनको जो कुछ दिया है ये बता नहीं रहे हैं. ये एक दूसरे को जानते नहीं थे. ये लम्स की वजह से ही शादी हुई है.
Look who's talking.
Agar Ehsan and Timpy were the first faculty couple, so Naveed and I were the first student couple. So that's how it was. So
I'm just going to add one thing. All four kids, Allah को लंबी जिंदगी सेहत दे, tell them कह रहे भाई तुम्हारे अम्मा अब्बा ने लम्स को दिया था जब तुम बहुत बड़े बंदे बन जाओ तो make sure that you continue the family tradition. So all four of them pay back to lums also.
I'd like to add something here, Adil. The interesting part is that apart from being the first couple at LUMS, the first student couple at LUMS, they're the first, I think, couple who've had all children, 4 children study at LUMS. And the best part is that they've contributed to this campaign and all 4 children have also contributed to this campaign. So I'd like to give a big thank you to Asadullah Naveed, Aham Naveed, Amina Naveed, and Fatma Naveed. By the way, Amina and Fatma are still students here and they've donated to this campaign. So that's amazing. The entire family has donated.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
Amina and Fatma, I'm going to disagree with Nudar. It's not amazing. It is your responsibility. You were born in a privileged family. Continue the tradition. Feel the weight of legacy. So कोई कमाल नहीं किया आपने. अभी बहुत साल पड़े हैं. जब 35 बरस हो जाए आपको डॉक्टर एहसान की तरह या आयशा ने, तो फिर हम मानेंगे आपको. अरे अभी थोड़े कमाल किया, अभी तो शुरू है. So well done. Little people.
We're trying to get them started on this road as well. That's
wonderful. I'm going to go to Dr. Arshad. He's been smiling wryly, you know. Dr. Arshad. Sorry, Dr. Hassan, you want to say something? Were you adding something to the conversation, sir?
No.
No, okay. Dr. Arshad, many people, many alumni were watching our session this afternoon. Many are watching it now. Some will be watching later tonight or tomorrow, whenever. Why is it important for a person who graduated many years ago, unlike Aisha and Naveed sahib, जिनके बच्चे वहाँ पढ़ते हैं, चलो वो तो एक और बात है. Someone graduated 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 15 years ago. They settled in Seattle, in Montreal, in wherever they settle. They're doing really well. What is the need? Why should they contribute to LUMS? Why is an alumnus responsible for paying back? Why? What would you say to them?
Shukriya Adil. Assalamu alaikum everybody, and thank you for inviting me to participate in what appears to be a wonderful campaign. And it's not just the transactional pieces about this campaign, but really it's a celebration, a get-together, and validation of the family called LUMS. So first of all, I wanted to say congratulations to Dr. Ehsan as well. Not only for his longevity and everything he's contributed, but he is our first batch of emeriti professors, and that was recognized during convocation. This is a great honor for us to be able to recognize professors like Dr. Ehsan, because it validates a cycle, a virtuous cycle of giving, and giving in the sense of making a difference in people's lives, but also recognizing the importance and value of teachers in our lives, especially those who spend a lifetime giving back to LUMS, which he and others have done. Babar Saab said something important, which I think is a key to the question you've asked, and that to me is family. So, young kids, when they leave their natural families and join the family of LUMS, I think mahol is tarah ka hai कि it truly, that is what sticks with them through their experience. And when I joined LUMS a little over 3 years ago, that's a question I was asking people. Why do you wake up in the morning and come to LUMS? I talk to staff members, I talk to chowkidars, I talk to security people, I talk to faculty, and I always got the same answer. And it had to do with family. And LUMS was always described as a family, perhaps because it's a residential campus where people naturally interact with each other, perhaps because, people are so interconnected from the many parts of Pakistan that they come to, and realize that after all, this is like a little Pakistan that we are experiencing from those 160 plus towns, villages, and cities that we have our students come from. And then, of course, the diversity we see increasingly with both gender and socioeconomic barriers being broken, there is a true sense of a mosaic at LUMS where, आप इसी तरह का सवाल पूछ रहे हैं कि why do I return to my original family, right? I mean, I'm back right now in Canada as I speak to you, and the greatest gift here for me are is my better half and my children and my immediate family. And there's no substitute for you can't measure this in terms of उन्होंने मुझे इतना दिया तो मैं आपको वापस इतना दे रहा हूं. It's not a transaction here. I think the relationship is far, far bigger. And from all of the alumni, I bet you, it's not just a sense of obligation, it's a sense of belonging. And if you want to strengthen that belonging, you have to nourish it. And as Baba Sahab said, if we are going to continue to support 1 out of 3 students, we can't do it through our internal funds. Those funds have to go for research and teaching and all the other endeavors that we are involved in, programming, curriculum, blah, blah. But really, it's about sustainability and standing on our own feet. And I know of no university in the world, a private university, which does not rely on government funds, which does not rely on any stable funding. We have to do this semester after semester, year after year. And it was okay when we had 50 students or 500 students. We have 5,000 plus students now. And as the numbers grow, so do the rupee requirements for sustaining this operation. So the privilege I think we all have is to have an even larger impact with multipliers that are obviously, the flag is borne by our alumni. And it is only the alumni, I would say, of all the stakeholders we have. Donors come and go. We are very lucky to have donors who have, again, been there for a long time, but everybody has a limited time, except for alumni. They are there forever, just like the university is. And so I think it's as basic as if the alumni want to see their alma mater thrive, then they must be part of that family to ensure that it continues to provide even more support to more people on this kind of need-blind basis where we are guaranteeing almost to people that, look, agar aapka merit ka ho jaye, requirements fulfill ho jaye, to phir uske alawa, don't worry. We'll find a way to make sure that you can also achieve your dreams at LUMS.
That's fantastic. The key sentence here was, there were several, was a sense of belongingness. Is nothing greater than that, where a person or a group feels belonged, where you belong to a place. That's one. And I remember in one of the sessions, Baba Sahab had mentioned, this is many, many years ago, when NOP was not such a big program. And he had mentioned to somebody at LUMS, he said, we have these, the word he used was, nagine or hire. ये पूरे मुल्क में बिखरे हुए हैं ये नगीन और हीरे, and we must get them to LUMS. Just because they can't send us a check doesn't mean कि वो हीरा नगीना जो है वो कहीं दूर रह जाए. We must not do that. And that was a great analogy where he referred to young minds of boys and girls as pearls and as jewels. So Musaid Sahab, thank you so much, sir, for your continued support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be together here.
Thank you for having us. And it was
Thank you, Dr. Hassan. It was lovely to meet you again. And we'll definitely get in touch.
Musaid, just a minute. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you specifically for, naming an auditorium after one of our very close friends who passed away last year, Burhan Muhammad Khan. And I think if the class of 1988 is together in any way, we can't ever forget to mention him. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank you and the family of Burhan who supported this and named an auditorium.
It was a very sad moment in my life, and I'm still going through that grief. It's going to be about 1 year now. The last time I met him was 16th of August, and then he passed away on 15th of September. So
Anyway.
I think it was one of the greatest losses of our class, and you take everyone, especially if they have a lot of time to get over that.
Yeah,
If you could just observe silence for about 2-3 seconds for him, I would really appreciate
Of course. And also notice how powerful someone's absence can be as well. And isn't that a sad but an important thing?
Right.
The absence is also powerful. So Musaid Saab, thank you. Aisha
Thank
Sahiba,
you very much, Adil.
Thank you so much. God bless you. And keep.
Thank you.
Adil, you are doing a great job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We have with us Umar Gajal Saab is with us. Umar is currently the Senior Vice President.
Umar, I can hardly recognize you. Assalamu alaikum, क्या हाल है?
बिल्कुल खैरियत हसन साहब, कैसे हैं आप?
मैं बिल्कुल ठीक-ठाक हूँ. Nice to see you.
Thank you. I feel humbled to be on the same screen as you.
We were supposed to meet in Lahore. We were supposed to meet in Lahore sometimes back.
जी, inshallah, I'll come.
Umar, you're in Seattle, if I'm right. Are you in Seattle right now?
जी.
It must be beautiful there. And for those of you who may or may not know Umar, he's responsible for bringing Amazon to Pakistan, and he's played a key role. And I want to talk about that, Umar. How did you bring Amazon to Pakistan? What happened? Like, well done, but what happened?
Shukriya, thank you, Adil. I just have to. I was listening earlier to Dr. Ehsan, and if Amazon is considered the world's most customer-centric company, I think my first lesson in understanding customers came from Dr. Ehsan. So I feel privileged and humbled to have been taught by him. So a quick snapshot is I joined Amazon in 2016 to lead consumables for US, Canada, and Mexico. And quickly I got additional responsibility to add hard lines and soft lines for the third-party business. So Amazon में 3 बड़े businesses हैं. Consumer business है, devices का business है, and AWS है. So the consumer business is 80% of the revenue of the company. And within the consumer business, the third party or the marketplace represents about 65% of all units shipped. So once I was in my role, I think the Amazon believes in creating access to customers so they have access to the best price, selection, and convenience. And very quickly, it was very apparent to me that while customers in the United States were accessing Pakistani products, because if you look at Pakistan's status, it's the 6th country stacks in the apparel industry where US imports goods from. But we didn't have Pakistan as a seller marketplace enabled. So I wrote a white paper. There's no PowerPoint in Amazon. So all those who you have to present complete thoughts in full sentences. It's a narrative. There's a whole literature available on how to write a narrative. So I wrote a whole narrative on why Pakistan should be added as a marketplace and why it is the right thing for the customers and how bringing manufacturers and brands closer to the customer to direct access would actually lower prices and offer broader selection. Anyway, to cut the long story short, we partnered with the LA Council Journal, the Ambassador of Pakistan, the Ministry of Commerce, the State Bank. Multitude of people were participating in the process. And what we ultimately did was, once Amazon was in agreement, the Pakistani government was in agreement, we carved out, from a team, I carved out 10 people to focus on the pilot, and we brought in 60 Pakistani manufacturers to be part of the pilot. And we started from registration to detail page to ingestion into a supply chain to payment solutions, discovery search, bunch of different e-commerce tactics that sellers need to learn. And we launched it a couple of months ago. So it was very satisfying and super excited about what it can be for Pakistani manufacturers.
That's fantastic. A little trivia here, and I know Nuzhat and Dr. Arshad will behead me for this. Did you know? I'm sure you know. Bruce Lee is buried in Seattle. Wow. All right. And share with us one thing one quality or ability, in addition to not using PowerPoint, that you learned at Amazon. It's a global company, it's a giant, so they must be doing tons of things which are right. Any 1, 2, 3 things that you learned at Amazon because of this culture or people?
I would say if folks want to understand Amazon है क्या, there are जब मैंने join किया था there were 14 leadership principles. Now they've expanded to 16, digesting what the community asks for on diversity and on environment. So now they're beautifully written, and entire company operates on those leadership principles. And if you're hired based on those leadership principles, you are promoted, you're compensated, and business choices are made on those leadership principles. So it's publicly available. I think I personally learned a few things. One, how to be customer obsessed, how to serve the customer right, how to problem solve, how to scale through technology, and also to stay curious. Being curious is the hallmark of any Amazonian, and that's I think that's how I summarize my almost 5 years at Amazon.
Great question, but last question. I can't let you off the hook without asking this question. So, how has LUMS played or contributed to the development of your professional and personal life? What did you learn at LUMS? If you had gone to another university, would things be different?
Thank you. And I think LUMS was one of the most formative years. I went to Karikor Hassan Abdal, then I did my civil engineering from an army academy. So coming out of extensive 8 years of military style education, which educated tremendous qualities in me. I think once I came to LUMS, the first thing I learned was, clearly beyond academics and functional expertise, and I learned a lot from the 4 Professor Emeritus. I learned from all of them. So I will not go into the functional part. I would say at a high level, I learned 2 things. One, by working hard, you expand possibilities. And I think LUMS taught me how to work really hard. And the moment you learn that you can do that, your possibilities expand. So I think that was one big learning. And the second one was connecting the dots faster than others. That is, I think in a short window of time, you're asked to do something and you connect the dots, and that leads to deductive reasoning or faster analyses. I think those are 2 things that always stuck with me. And finally, I would say that connecting the dots was not only limited at a commerce level. I'll go back to the LUMS example. There's a gentleman, maybe you know him, Sohail Khan, class of 96. जब ये सारा Amazon की बातचीत हो रही थी, he connected the dots and he introduced me to a senior advisor to the Prime Minister House. We had a 1-hour call, and not exaggerating, 2 weeks later, the Pakistan Postal Office published new recommendations that I had a chat with somebody that's Sohail enabled, who has access to people who can make things work. And 2 weeks later, the whole idea was that if we want to go into commerce, we cannot really move containers. You have to go into small eaches. And the Pakistan's entire supply chain is centered around large container orders out of the port. And we really need to think about how eaches will move. That's a new economy. And it was super refreshing that how Sohail connected the dots, things will happen. So I think those are the 2 things that I learned a lot. And I think many others like me benefited from those.
Dr. Arshad Nuzhat, we have Umar here, but do you want to say something? Get more commitment out of him. We don't get Amazonians too often in live telethons online. Over to you.
Do you remember me?
Absolutely. कैसे हैं आप Nuzhat?
मैं ठीक हूँ, आप कैसे हैं?
I'm very good. Yes.
Yeah. So good to see you again, and you know what this telethon is all about. And so over to you for any support that you'd like to give it. And Dr. Arshad, if you would like to ask any question, please go ahead.
Well, I'm just absolutely fascinated by some of the insights that Umar has just shared with us. Thank you so much, Umar Saab. That's a real learning for me to hear from you that, those kinds of values that you've taken from LUMS, especially the 2 you mentioned about hard work and connecting the dots, resonate with me in my own experience here at LUMS. I mean, that's one of the things I would say in my role I can vouch for. This continues to happen. You'll be happy to know. But more importantly, when you were talking about what you learned at Amazon, Those are the kinds of insights that young students at LUMS would be very hungry to learn about. So whether you can deepen your connection, which means giving time and not just money, to work with our National Incubation Center. Salim Ahmed, another alumni, is chairing that. He'll be joining us today, I think. Or whether it is teaching a course with us, whether it is to sit on some of the advisory boards that we have. I think there are many ways to give back, and financial, of course, is the easiest one, as the most obvious one that we expect you'd be able to help us with. But I think with your kind of background and insight, love to get you involved in some of the other activities where your expertise would be extremely valuable.
Thank you, Shazab. It's interesting. I think it's all going back to the connecting the dots. Actually, I spoke to Salim yesterday, day before, and also Saima Rana and Rohina, who enabled the connection. So actually, we did agree on running a couple of discussion and sessions, but I'm totally open to the multiple other ideas. I actually had an extensive conversation on this topic to say, how can we bring things are moving so fast that there's a little chasm between if you look back and you try to learn, things have already moved forward. So happy to bridge a little bit of chasm, because I'm sure my learnings will become redundant very soon as well. But whatever I can offer to bring LUMS students, alumni, or even folks who are connected to the LUMS diaspora through the Incubation Center, happy to offer any coaching, programmatic learning, happy to offer it.
Gee, Umar Sahab, I wanted to add one other quick thing, and that is, you say things are moving fast. You're absolutely right. Before a graduate graduates, what he or she thought would be hot in the marketplace may have dramatically changed, or even his program may have become more or less redundant given the growth in some of the other areas. But I will say this, there are some sectors that don't change. and I don't mean just in Pakistan, I mean around the world. So, the kind of things you talked about with customer service and leadership and so on, you don't see that in the airline industry. You don't see that in the banking industry. You don't see that in some of the other, monoliths that have just sort of clung on to the old models. And I think those learnings are just as important for us. Academia is known to be one of the slowest change agents in, they value stability more than anything else, for good reason. But at the same time, the world is getting disrupted, and we need insights from people like yourself to be able to keep up with those very important forward directions that keep us nimble, flexible, close to the ground, and clearly in the interest of our students, which I think this campaign is all about.
Anything I can do to contribute, I'll be happy to. Shukriya.
Umar, it's your job to think and then deliver. So ये दोनों काम आपके ऊपर ही हैं. आपको नुज़रत या डॉक्टर साहब थोड़ा ही फोन करेंगे. You will decide what is it that you can contribute and then contribute whatever you can. So, but I'm just thank you so much for your time, Umar, and stay connected, and please keep this drive going. All right, we need to build this country. We need to build the youth. And thank you for your time, and thank you for your insight. Before I show you the slide where people can contribute, I have an announcement. Dr. Arshad Ahmed is here, and he has submitted himself कि भी मुझसे कोई कुछ भी सवाल पूछ सकता है. So any alumni who want to ask him a question or anything, please send the question, and we'll make sure that we introduce that, ask him that question. Here's how you donate. You can call a number. Please make sure that you add the country code and the city code. And the number after the is 3560856 and 61. Or more conveniently, log on to lums.edu.pk/give-a-day-to-LUMS, and you can contribute there. And like Baba Sahab said, not only finances, not only money, not only that contribution, also ideas. We had an alumni in the morning, in the afternoon, Arif Baracha, who said, I want to plant trees in LUMS. That's a contribution, adding value. So see what you can do. And of course, the easiest and an important one is to donate financially. So this is the slide. Before I introduce the next guest, Dr. Arshad, I have a question for you. What's the best thing about being the Vice Chancellor of LUMS?
What's the best thing?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, well, I don't know if it's a thing. I mean, if it's a thing, then the campus is a thing. And that is a wonderful privilege to be able to use all the facilities and actually live there, which I do. So that's a thing. But I think more importantly, what's important for me are the people that come and go. And something that Umar said earlier on about connecting the dots. My favorite thing is to try and connect those dots, because I'm really super lucky to be able to see a view and picture and interact with people constantly, where the day goes by in the blink of an eye, and before you know it, you're ready for a next day. And it's never a dull moment, because it's not just challenges, but they're opportunities, and it's just relationship building, that you get a chance to meet wonderful people like the ones we have on this panel. But those are some of my favorite things. Yes.
Some of my favorite things. I have difficult questions, but we have Shariar Ali Saab, we have Harun Rashid Saab, and we have Memosh Khwaja Saab. If I can start with Shariar Saab. Shariar Saab, why do you think this campaign for LUMS, where the alumni are urged and encouraged to give back to LUMS, is an important campaign? Why do you think it's an important campaign?
So thank you very much. First of all, Assalamu alaikum to everybody, and thank you for doing this. I'm in Mississauga and really enjoying the weather here. So do excuse me if I put on my glasses. I don't mean to look cool, but I just need them to sort of.
But you do look cool. But you do look cool. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Arshad Sahab, first of all, a pleasure to meet you. This is the first time we're interacting. I think our mutual friend Muhammad Ali Khan did introduce us, and we were supposed to get together, but that didn't happen for one reason or the other. But just to answer your question, I'd like to sort of step back and think back to Nuzat's question as to why I decided to contribute. And frankly, the reason why I think I stepped forward was because of two reasons. One was that LUMS, for me in particular, was a great inflection point. It totally changed my life. I was an engineer by background. I was struggling. I was working in Shekhupura. This is way back in the 80s when the roads were pretty poor. You can imagine. Subah 7 baje aana, sham ko 7 baje aana. And, I said, where the hell is my life going? And my colleagues on the marketing and the, finance side who were in the office would, come in at the regular time and leave at the regular time. And I just figured to myself, I don't have a shot of making it to the top of the company. It will probably be my colleagues from the head office. And that's when I decided that I needed training, which are on the more softer side of the management spectrum, which is marketing, finance, and general management, and OB, and so on. And obviously, LUMS was a great choice because I was based in Lahore, and Babar Ali Saab was a family friend. And the case method sort of fascinated me, which was new to me at that time. And I took that, plunge, spent 2 years and graduated with honors, and the whole world opened up to me. Or I joined Citibank. Citibank allowed me to go global after 5 years, 7 years of working there. The international market opened up to me. I went to then to the Middle East, and uske baad phir obviously that was another era because so many other doors opened. So for me, it was an inflection point. It truly changed my life. And every time I think it over, I said, now is my time to repay. I must enable other people to also have the opportunity of this inflection point. So I think that's why it's important, because after some stage, now to answer your question in particular, that why did you do it? I think we all owe a debt, and being a banker, I believe in people returning their debt. It's a debt the society has placed on us, and we must return it somehow. So firstly, for me, I've also built a school of TCF school in my village in Burewala. And of course, to the people who really mattered to me in terms of really helped me to achieve my goals, which is LUMS. I think now we must continue, and that is why I took the lead in initiating a campaign in my class of '89. Okay, we must do a little bit consistently every time, every year. It doesn't have to be in huge sums, but a little bit every year consistently, lakh, 1.5 lakh, जो भी है per alumni, अगर हम करें, तो 30-35 lakh will be generated each year, and within 3 years, 1 crore रुपया, you can see the numbers multiply. So a long answer, but the short answer being, Babar Ali, I have deep respect. He personally intervened, stepped in, and I had to respond. And number two, when I think back, I can never repay LUMS for what it has achieved for me. Thank you.
Fantastic. Make sure that your group starts to increase. उनसे कहें 1-1.5 लाख तो कम है भाई, ये महंगाई बहुत ज्यादा हो गई है, बढ़ाएं भाई, 3-4 लाख करें यार. There are younger people coming in. The student body is increasing. Haroon, same question. Your MBA of 1995. What happened? Why did you feel compelled to give back? We heard Chaya Saab's story. What's your story? Why give back? Why not just take and just do your thing? Why give back? What's the urge?
Thank you very much for asking this question, sir. I think there's a rather simple answer. LUMS has, like Shiraz Saab said, been an inflection point for many of us. And, I have certainly benefited. And, Pakistan is not a very wealthy society. Over here, if anyone benefits in any part of the country, there's always 10 different places to give back to. And most senior people I know in Pakistan give back in many, many ways. I think the real question is, why prioritize LUMS in that giving back? And there, I think the answer really is, because personally for me, this institution has done a lot. And I'm sure it has done for each of its alumni. That doesn't mean the other places people donate to are less important. That doesn't mean, you are absolved of solving other problems that are around you, because all of us have problems around us. That is the nature of Pakistan. But I think giving LUMS the priority to at least give back this one day is rather important. And whatever else can be done must be done. I must say, I came here today with a sense of guilt. The guilt was I wanted to make sure I do this one day before I joined this role. And 5 minutes before, I called Marwa. I said, look, I was traveling all day. I've just reached home. Allow me to do that tomorrow. And she said, that's okay. So there's a bit of guilt in me, but it will happen tomorrow for sure, first thing. And I can clearly see that doing this is very important for all of us, and prioritizing LUMS over other avenues that we have is important for all of us. Back to
Two quick things. That is good guilt. And secondly, no, not tomorrow. Immediately after you log off, you do the needful. Not tomorrow morning. That's a long time away. Nuzhat is here. Nuzhat is the boss. Dr. Rashid is here. He's the boss. We want it done tonight. So not tomorrow, because we made a claim. Our claim is any alumni who's appeared here has contributed, has pledged already. So
pledged I have.
Pledge you have. बस वो वादा जो है
करना था आज, I should have fulfilled, but I will do it right.
बस वो गालिब का शेर ना पढ़ दीजिएगा कि तेरे वादे पर जिए हम तो ये जान झूठ जाना, ये खुशी से मरना चाहते अगर एतबार होता तो make sure
ऐसा कुछ नहीं.
Thank you for that. Memor Khaja Saab, thank you for joining us, sir. Memor Saab, I think you're in Dubai, the MD of ILMNet in Dubai, and one of the people, one of the alumni who's traveled across the world. What happened? Why? दुबई के लोग तो अरे यार जो हम सुनने में आए वहां पे इतनी नीली पीली गुलाबी बत्तियां हैं. People are busy doing their own thing, going to the malls. What Dr. Ashar used the term a sense of belongingness. That was his term. What's your urge, or what's your need, or what's your inspiration to give back to LUMS?
Ji, Assalamu alaikum, and thank you everyone. So I go back to 1993, class of 93. तो काफी पुराना उस वक्त, obviously this is the time when there were just 30 or 40 graduates in a year. So it was a small community. और मुझे बहुत जल्दी मौका मिला आफ्टर ग्रेजुएशन कि मैं मुल्क से बाहर चला गया काम करने के लिए. एंड देन ऑब्वियसली उस ज़माने में देयर वाज नो नेटवर्क, ये सब प्लेटफॉर्म्स नहीं थे, ये सब नेटवर्क्स नहीं थे, बहुत छोटी कम्युनिटी थी. बट जब आप किसी और मुल्क में जाके इफ यू डू वेल इन योर प्रोफेशनल करियर, which I was blessed, that I got an opportunity to grow very quickly in my organization. तो आप फिर you look back and think कि यार ये सब कुछ जो प्रोग्रेस हुई है ये कैसे हो गई. एंड you obviously माँ बाप की दुआएं होती हैं, आपकी अपनी हार्ड वर्क होती है, कुछ लक होती है, and then you say there must be some concrete factors that have contributed to this, and then LUMS comes to your mind, and आप सोचते हैं कि अगर आप गिव बैक करें तो किसको करें, and कैसे करें. सो ऑब्वियसली उस वक्त LUMS का दिमाग में नाम आया, एंड उस वक्त कोई प्लेटफॉर्म्स नहीं थे, आई थिंक ये NOP वाले या दूसरे. सो I started this relationship of giving to LUMS way back in those days, and it was just out of sheer trust, I would say. एक trust था कि एक ऐसी organization में आप दें, contribute करें जहाँ पर आपको पता है कि something good will come out. So उस trust की basis पे ये एक journey start हुई. Obviously you acknowledge what LUMS has contributed to you, but I stayed away from Pakistan for 18 years, and but वो सिलसिला चलता रहा. I had no contact with any professor or anybody, और सिर्फ वो एक उस तरह का relationship था कि किसी accountant से LUMS से relationship थी कि जी पैसे आ रहे हैं और जा रहे हैं, and I didn't know कौन है वहाँ पर, but that trust kept going. And I wanted to complete the story, because then finally I came back to Pakistan a couple of years back, or Lahore. I came back to Lahore to work there, and मैं सोचता रहा कि जिस इंस्टीट्यूट में मैं पढ़ा था वहाँ तो बहुत छोटा सा एक घर था, और अब इतनी बड़ी यूनिवर्सिटी बन गई है, पता नहीं यहाँ मैं किसी को जानता हूँ कि नहीं जानता. And I was contemplating कि मैं किस तरह दोबारा connect करूँ, and then suddenly in one social evening I happened to meet one of the professors, Dr. Zahoor, and he recognized me and he said कि आप कहाँ से, इतने अरसे बाद, and come back to us, and we can do so much together. So that relationship re-continued, and I was so happy. I obviously met Nuzhat as well, and she introduced me to Arshad Saab as well. And then I was like, this is still a thriving community. It's still the same people. आपको 25 साल बाद भी वो recognize कर रहे हैं और आपको opportunity दे रहे हैं. So it felt really good. I think everything just came back. Wow, this is the institute that I sort of connected with remotely, and then it came back to me. And my message to all the international community especially is कि अगर आप कहीं और हैं, so you should connect with LUMS in more than one way. And LUMS जो है वो एक thriving community है, और वो आपको भी personally भी give back करेगी, आपकी community को आपकी professional development में करती रहेगी. So even till now I now engage more with LUMS because I'm spending time in Pakistan, but the message is कि don't even think twice about it, and connect with this very thriving and giving community. Yeah,
wonderful. In fact, don't think at all. Just do the right thing that needs to be done. Mahmood Khaja Saab, Harun Rashid Saab, Shahryar Ali Saab, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for your contribution. Please make sure that you continue this journey, not for yourself, but also for people and the alumni that you connected with, because it is an ongoing thing. And thank you so much. It has been a pleasure to have you on this telethon. I now have another question for Dr. Ashar. Dr. Ashar, hold your breath. All right, here's your question. The question is, what has been the highlight of your big move back to Pakistan? That's one. And what was the biggest cultural shock that you felt when you moved back? So highlight and a cultural shock before I introduce the new guest.
Well, before our current guests leave, let me also add my gratitude and my thanks. I've had an occasion to meet Harun Saab on in various venues, whether it's a homecoming event or in the boardroom of Shell. He's always been very generous of his time, given his very busy schedule. It's unfortunate we didn't get a chance to spend more time together, Shahriar Saab, but I have been keeping a close tab on your wonderful achievements, and you've just outlined some of them. Really happy, and especially our mutual friend Muhammad Ali Khan is the kind of alumna, in a way, an alumnus of alumnus, who continues to remind us of how life-changing his own experience was at LUMS. And so I look forward to spending time with you as well. Thank you so much, Memor Saab, as well. Just overwhelmed with your own, interventions and your thoughts about LUMS. So I just wanted to thank everyone before you left. And before I answer those difficult questions you're asking me, okay, now this is quite personal. You're asking me about my big move back to Pakistan and what was the highlight. Well, the highlight was, one clear answer is LUMS was the highlight. That was the reason I moved back. But behind that was a sense of, again, I think what we are doing today is symbolic of why I moved back. I grew up in Pakistan. I was born and raised in Karachi, and I left at a very young age. I was only 17 when I left. And then I spent a lot of time overseas and, did, like most of you, academic work and then a career overseas. And there was something inside me, even though my family was born and raised here. My children were born and raised in Canada. And I had all the comforts and career trappings that one could imagine. But there's always something in the back of your mind about, giving back to your country and giving back to the people in particular, where you can make a difference. And I think Pakistan holds a particular allure, a particular dynamism with being a young country, being one where there are challenges, yes, but just as many opportunities. And so you feel a compulsion. And in my field, which is education, you cannot have the same impact anywhere in the world, I think, in the field of education, which is the fastest growing sector in Pakistan just because the demographics. And that really was the big realization coming to LUMS that, this move back to Pakistan can, in a selfish way, allow me to achieve my own dreams of sharing some things I've learned along the way with a prestigious institution like LUMS. So ye pehli baat thi. Culture shock ki koi kami nahi thi. Culture shock, I couldn't recognize, I couldn't find the homes I lived in and I grew up in. I wandered around Karachi, I could not find those houses anymore. Everything had been transformed. City which had a couple of million people now had over 20 million. Lahore, same thing. I used to visit my sister there. Another reason I moved back was also my sister lives in Pakistan. So reconnecting with family was a reason, but really the physicality of the place was a big shock. The dirty air is another big shock. One could see stars at night and you can't anymore. One could breathe and just drink water off the tap. You could walk around, security, काफी चीजें मुख्तलिफ थी. लेकिन वो चीजें are transient, and you get used to them and you then accommodate for the situation you find yourself in. So I have no complaints at all, other than to say that I love the food. That's a big draw for me. Vegetables. I mean, you just don't get that in North America. You don't get the 70 varieties of mango or, for that matter, vegetables that we are now growing on campus. Just the taste of them is din ban jata hai. I mean, you really, really feel at home when things like these that are reminders ke, bachpane mein hum darakht pe chadh ke, we used to see who can quickly get the chikus down as fast as possible or what have you. So these are little things that bring, that evoke memories of your childhood days, meeting up with friends who are doing, mashallah, very well, and then looking at all the possibilities. I think there's some urgency in Pakistan that you don't feel in other countries, where you have to get things done. And I think all of us in our roles try and do that in our own ways, which are in some of the reasons why the move back has been just a wonderful experience.
Did you leave out Faluda and Kulfi? How could you leave out Faluda and Kulfi? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing Sharia Sahab and all the other friends who are not in Pakistan. Okay, we have two more alumni. We have Ali Al-Makki Sahab, MBA 1996, and we have Hamad Hassan Sahab, MBA 1994. I'll chat with you in just 1 second. If we can see the slide again, Ali Naqvi, so that all the friends and all the alumni who are watching this telethon from across the world, they can take a look at it, how they can contribute. Okay, so this is how you can contribute. You can call, and the number is there, the country code, the city code of Lahore, and then the number. Or better still, log on to lums.edu.pk/give a day to LUMS. And this means give 8 days of salary, but please donate more time, expertise, value, opinion, whatever, in addition to the money, not in place of the money, in addition to that. So just a polite, or perhaps not so polite, reminder, make sure the money keeps on flowing. Baba Sahib, Sayyid Babar Ali, the Honorable Sayyid Babar Ali, our sage, mentioned earlier in this session that less than half of the money that we spend on the national outreach program, the education, is raised. So the other half, more than half, has to be given by LUMS. So make sure that you contribute. Ali Al-Makki Sahab, Assalamu alaikum, and Hamad, thank you for joining us. I'll start with Ali Al-Makki. Ali, what was the need? Why were you inspired to mobilize friends, colleagues, classmates, and say, "Arey yaar, ye kaam hai, ek zimmedari hai. Come on, let's join hands. Let's get this done." What was the driving force for you and your team?
Hey, thank you so much. Really appreciate this entire effort that's been organized by you and the team. So I'm class of 1996. We just had our 25th anniversary of our graduation, which was all done virtually thanks to the pandemic we all live in. But besides that, I can tell you that the last 25 years post-LUMS have been materially impacted by my experience at LUMS. And my story is not dissimilar from what Sharia Sahab said a few minutes ago. In fact, Sharia Sahab was my first boss at Citibank when I was doing my internship during my 2 years at LUMS. So I've known him for many years and have a lot of respect and appreciation for the sage advice he provided me so many years ago. It's exactly that, which is the way it has impacted my life. If it can impact others in a similar manner, that is why I want to give to LUMS. I have seen the impact on mine and many, many others' lives in many, many ways. And I won't mention the fact that I would also probably like to mention the fact that I met my wife here too. So that's a pretty major impact on my life. But I mean more from a career, personal growth, as well as how it changes the way in which you think and approach life. Is probably the major changes I would like others to benefit from too. I think the other part which is critical is I joined at the age of 20, straight out of undergrad, and went through 1 month boot camp run by Dr. Jamshed, which was called the SOP. We had a slightly different third letter to it when we lived through it. But it was a very, very traumatic experience, kind of broke you down and rebuilt you. And I think that experience has actually impacted, I can easily say, many people from my class for many, many years. And most importantly, lastly, I would just say, I think it's all the relationships that I have built through this experience with faculty, with class fellows, with others that I've met, alumni and others. I would like others to benefit from that, similar experiences and similar relationships as well. So that would probably sum up in a way why I think it's important. The last thing I'd just say, Adil Saab, is very importantly, I think it is at least, and I may have a very not exactly a full view of this, but from my vantage point, I can see this is one of the few institutions, educational or otherwise, that has been created in Pakistan and blossomed over the last several decades, and continues to be self-sustaining and professional. So we just need more of those, and in the educational sector more so. We probably need like 50 LUMS, if not more. So the more we can give for this LUMS, which we have so much affiliation with, and that has done so much for us, the better it will be for others too. So that's how I'd sum it up.
अली साहब वेरी क्विकली, ये सारा कुछ तो आपने लम से ले लिया कि बेगम भी मिल गई, तालीम भी हो गई, कामयाबी भी हो गई. अरे भाई वापस कितना कुछ किया उसमें से, उसका हिसाब किताब तो करें ना हमारे साथ.
नहीं, बिल्कुल सही सवाल है. पहली बात तो ये है कि 3 बच्चे मुझे मिले इससे, which is very important. Also, which as part of what I've gotten out of it. Over the past several years, I've lived both in the US, where I was part of the North American chapter and helped drive some of the initiatives there. I've been living in the UK for the last 12 years and been driving some of the stuff here as well in partnership with the local chapter leads. I think इसमें हमारी class, जो है MBA class of 96, has also made a endowment for a student. And personally, I've done a couple of things of a similar nature. So I've tried to put my money where my mouth is, and encouraged by none other than Babar Saab, who very clearly asked, you have benefited so much, what have you done? And when you hear a request of that type from that individual, you have no choice but to act. And I've tried to do the little bits I can.
Excellent. Well done. Well done. And when it comes from Baba Saab, it's not a request. It's not a request. Hamad Saab, share your story. Share your experience at LUMS with us. Any fond memories, and why did you feel? You're in Bahrain, if I'm right. What happened? अरे निकल गए थे, Bahrain चले गए थे. One of the richest countries in the world, smallest countries. What's the point of giving back?
Neji, thank you very much. First of all, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here. Aaj subah Nuzhat se baat hui, and she asked me to join, and I said I have a flight tonight to catch to where Arshad Saab has come from, to Toronto. But I said, of course, LUMS takes priority. Class of 94 MBA, जिस तरह Ali ने कहा, यहाँ पे very familiar faces. Sharyar was my mentor as well when I was interning at City and after my first year, and then he has remained a mentor throughout. LUMS has an extremely special place in my heart as far as I'm concerned. I always say that education, you continue getting educated throughout your life. But for me, my education was high school, St. Anthony's, where I did my O-levels. Then there was a period of blur. My FSC and I went to engineering university, 4 or 5 years over there. Typical story, marks आ रहे हैं तो आप या engineering में चले जाएंगे या medicine में चले जाएंगे. Great university, but the time period in which I was there, उस वक्त politics and Jamaat और ये और वो, there was just a lot happening over there, and I think I realized somewhere down the road that I'm not cut out to be an engineer, and I was looking, for help. What do I do? Where do I go? And then came LUMS in my life, and I must say, I always say that my real education started at LUMS. So I really owe it all to LUMS. It was great, the 2 years of the MBA program, the rigor that we went through in terms of academics, the fun that we had, the lifelong relationships that we have fostered. I'm not like Ali. I did not meet my life partner over there, but I made great friends over there who we are still connected. We are literally, a phone call away or a WhatsApp message away. और आज भी सुबह से हमारा जो क्लास ऑफ 94 का सेशन है उसमें यही बात चल रही थी कि ये आज telethon हो रहा है. So that's what LUMS means to me. It gave me the platform. It gave me my first job. I started my career with Citigroup in Pakistan, in Lahore. I went on to a secondment to City's franchise in Saudi Arabia. I spent 8 years over there when City was pulling out of the Saudi market. That's when Bahrain happened. So Bahrain didn't happen immediately, and that's when Bahrain happened. I came to a bank called Arab Banking Corporation, or unki ek subsidiary hai, ABC Islamic Bank, which I have the privilege of heading now. So it's been a great run. And I must say one thing that I have to say that, having studied throughout in Lahore and then ultimately at LUMS, and then being in the Middle East or on the international, markets, never did once one would feel कि हमें कोई किसी किस्म की shortcoming है, or you have that wish or desire in your mind कि I should have gone to an Ivy League in the US, or why didn't I go to a school in Canada? The education, the quality that we got, it was par excellence, and I think it has stayed with me at least to date, and I'm sure it will continue forever. So LUMS, so that's what LUMS means to me.
That's absolutely fantastic to feel that one doesn't need to go to an Ivy League college or an Oxford or Cambridge and feel that one has enough tools. That's a great thing. That's a great thing. And thank you for sharing that, Hamad. Nuzhat, do we have some latest numbers on how much these big shots have contributed so far?
Well, we've with both the sessions in place, we have about 6.9 million rupees in the kitty now with the telethon. And of course, that takes the entire figure to 30 million plus. I'd like to mention here that I was speaking to Hamad earlier, and he's committed to funding one scholar. And that's, thank you so much, Hamad, for your commitment for doing that. And Ali's also made a commitment. Ali, would you like to talk about that a bit? That would be great.
Well, no, I mean, it's I've also sort of sought to make a commitment of one scholar.
Excellent, well done. Thank you for that. आज सुबह डॉक्टर जहूर ने एक बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग बात की जो दोपहर का हमारा सेशन था. ये मेरे very interesting point. Just throwing at you guys, Ali and Hamad, just throwing stuff at you guys that Dr. Zahoo said. It's online, so you can go check, you can verify. He said, wouldn't it be interesting, would it be fascinating if all the alumni that we have, and as many kids as they have, किसी के 2 हैं, 3 बच्चे हैं, 1 बच्चों भी हैं, for each child or kid that they have, they sponsor an equal number of children in LUMS. And I thought that was a great formula. That was a great formula. Just throwing it at you guys, not saying anything. So आपकी जो MBA 96, MBA 98, MBA 94, whatever class is, that's Dr. Zahoor suggesting. So tell them कि देखो यार ये एक proposal Dr. Zahoor ने भेजा है, one of the old guards of LUMS. So see if that works for you guys. But in addition to that, Ali Al-Makki, thank you so much. Hamad, thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Arshad, would you like to say something to these young people?
Not so young anymore.
Young and getting younger. Yes, indeed. What I can say is not only express gratitude on behalf of the entire institution, but also to applaud their, setting the bar as high as they are in ensuring that this money that they're contributing is going right into the pockets of the students. I think that's one of the wonderful things about giving to the NOP program or to funding student scholarships that we have more broadly, which is 1 out of 3 students for, over 5,000 students at LUMS. And that's a big number if you think about it. There's no overhead, there's no, no diversion of funds that typically NGOs tend to extract for good reasons. But in this particular case, we want to make sure that the donor, individual or collective, and यहाँ पर बहुत अच्छी examples इन्होंने दी हैं, including Shahryar Saab's, amazing gathering of folks to amplify his own contributions, that there is a multiplier effect here in place. And the multiplier effect doesn't end with the education of that scholar that you're going to sponsor. but it filters right out into the family. And then many of these, especially NOP scholars we've noted, aren't aspiring to go and work in large multinationals. Some do, just as Baba Sahab noted that, there are almost 100 of these folks that we support who are doing PhDs in top universities around the world. So this is all good. But I think the biggest news here is that they go back to their communities and they want to ensure that their cousins, sisters, brothers, friends, and others also get this opportunity that they did. So there is a societal, community-based multiplier effect taking place that is changing not just opportunity sets, but the ways in which people think about progressive issues that education affords us, and particularly with women. And I want to underline that hope we'll have an opportunity later on to talk about how gender-related issues are transforming the way in which not only students are attracted. One example, every graduate program in the STSB, which most of you are familiar with, our oldest school, and now there are 7 new programs that have been introduced within a year. 7 new graduate programs. And in here, any female who applies automatically gets a 50% scholarship. I don't think you'll see that anywhere in the world. Nor will you see that the facilities, at LUMS are more and more in tune with the needs of females. Period-friendly bathrooms, machines, all kinds of events that are taking place that promote understanding of biases that we have in a society that doesn't treat women well. So I think if we don't do it in our own backyard, then we should not expect that just by talking about it, it's going to happen. We have to model it. And I think your contributions are going towards, leadership that is doing exactly that. So I just wanted to echo my thanks. And there are a lot of people who are applauding you who don't have a chance on this forum to say thank you to you. So please accept those thanks. And remember, this is the beginning of a journey where we're going to keep coming back and inshallah having many more forums like these as we move forward.
I'm going to butt in very quickly because we have Maliha Mahmood, MBA 2002, and she has very few minutes because she has another commitment. Apologies for that, Maliha. But Ali Makki and Hamad, thank you so much for joining us. And please keep doing all the good deeds. Maliha, assalamu alaikum, and our apologies for keeping you waiting. Now, I believe that you're very passionate about the NOP program, the National Outreach Program. Tell us about that. Where does that passion come from?
Thank you so much for having me here. And I'm very passionate about the program for all the reasons that Dr. Arshad just mentioned. I feel like it has a social impact much larger than what we can imagine. As I feel enabled because of the education that I got for the 2 years that I was at LUMS. It gave me a foundation to contribute to the society, no matter where we've lived in Australia, and now I'm in the Bay Area. And I was able to volunteer and give back to the society wherever I lived, even while I was a stay-at-home mom. And when I was ready to pick up my career, I had the foundation and I was just able to, pick up my books, take my CP exam and start my career again, just because I had the right foundation. And the way I feel enabled, I would love to make a difference in other people's life, and obviously, and the social impact I felt in my life. So I feel like I have to contribute and make a difference. And when it comes to contributing and making a difference, we have so many choices to choose from, right? I think it was brought up again. But I feel like LUMS NOP program has the biggest social impact because the difference education can make to those areas is just tremendous. Just the way Dr. Arshad mentioned. And if we can, like he said, if we can encourage women to be part of this program, I think we're changing our societal norms, and I am obviously definitely a supporter of all women in any industry, and I want to see more women as leaders. So yeah. and I'm honored to be here, and I would love to contribute in more ways, but we have to kind of work with what we can do.
Nobody will stop you from contributing. I can tell you that. When it comes to LUMS, you can do whatever you want. Nobody will stop you. Isn't that right, Dr. Arshad?
Maliha, you'll be very happy to know that our most senior appointment, which is the highest academic position in the university, for the first time is being led by a woman, Dr. Farhat Haq, who joined us from Chicago, and she's now served a year already, and thank God for her. Just as much as we have a dean of the law school who's a female, we have, I believe, 40% of the leadership in the business school are now female, associate deans, directors, and so on. The new HR director that we just hired is female. The two leaders of our student society, and you'll be just thrilled to hear this as much as I was, the president and the vice president for the undergraduates and the graduate societies are females. So this hasn't happened before, and these are the kinds of role models that young people aspire to. And they say, look, if they can do it, we can do it too. And in fact, I remember when the student president got elected, she came up to me and she said, when I congratulated her, I said, you must be thrilled. This is fantastic. What are your plans? And she said, देखें, plans तो बहुत हैं, लेकिन हमें अभी से the guys are telling us that you're not going to make it. This is not going to work. And we are going to stand up and show them how. So I think you can hear it in just the attitudes they bring to the table. We certainly, if you look at COVID, if I may extend this example with one more, success story, you look at COVID and no leader, no expert has really figured this out. I mean, to this day, आज ये बोलते हैं, कल कुछ और बोलते हैं, फिर परसों कहते हैं कि देखेंगे आगे क्या होगा. इसलिए वाकई में किसी के पास कोई जवाब नहीं है, right? However, having said that, if you look at some of the success stories, and there are some, New Zealand may be one of those that people continuously point out to, and who are the leaders, right? So female leadership does have an impact. It has been documented, it has been researched, and we just need to open our arms and learn from them as much as we rely on them for those kinds of needs that nourish us in our families and in the values that we bring to society. So kudos to all the females. If I'm sounding like a feminist, then let me just say it publicly that I am.
Maliha, thank you for your time and thank you for your contribution. And please continue the journey.
I just say something here, if I could. Maliha, hi. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. Good to see you.
Yeah. So I'd like to give a special thanks to Maliha because just before Ali Al-Maki and Hamad made their contributions, she was the single largest donor to the campaign. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. I had no idea. I'm just doing my part in terms of how I can, make a difference. And I feel like LUMS, like it was pointed out, is a place where the social impact is huge. So, whatever we can do in our own ways. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Maliha. Salim, I'll be with you in 1 minute. I need to show the viewers and our friends the slide through which they can contribute. And one little thing, I just got a message from Harun Rashid saying he's contributed. So, Dr. Arshad, I got the contribution before morning. All right. Okay. Good, so the alumni who haven't contributed yet or who want to do it again and again and again, this is how you do it. You can call this number. Please add the country and the city code and the number, or visit the website lums.edu.pk/give-a-day-to-lums. And one more time, a not so polite reminder, it is not a one-time thing. Babar Saab says, put it on your calendar, make it a habit, do it again and again and again and then keep doing it. Keep doing it. And thank you for showing that style, Ali Naqvi. We have Salim Ahmed with us, MBA 1996. And he's currently the chairman of the National Incubation Center and also the president of the New York chapter as well. Salim, a very warm welcome. But first, what is this National Incubation Center? Why is it important? Very quickly, young people are watching. How can we get those people involved in the NIC?
Yeah, so it's a center based at LUMS, which is the mission is to inspire, enable, and facilitate a generation of young problem solvers in Pakistan. So basically, helping them incubate their ventures. I mean, and put them on the path of entrepreneurship.
And Salim, why do you think it's important, this initiative of giving back? We've had alumni from Bahrain and London and Seattle. You are in NYC. Why is it important to contribute to this campaign, Give a Day to LUMS? What's the importance of giving back? Why is it important for alumni especially to be more active?
Look, it's a no-brainer, right? Like it's a circle of life, essentially. I mean, we've all benefited from this great institution and affording the same types of opportunities to other highly talented folks who may not have access at this point in time in their lives. It's a gratifying thing to do. I mean, what could be more important than investing in their future? और देखिए पाकिस्तान में तो सबसे ज़्यादा important बात जो मैं समझता हूँ वो ये है कि 130 मिलियन की population हमारी 30 साल से young है, right? And for every person who retires in the next 20 years, there are going to be 3 more that are entering the workforce. So if we're not going to, the only way to realize this talent is, or this talent dividend that Pakistan keeps talking about, is to train them, is to upskill them. And that's what, brought me to NIC. I mean, that's what has become my passion. Very few people probably know this. I came to LUMS as an entrepreneur. I started my first business at the age of 17, 18. It still runs in Lahore. I continue to run it through LUMS, and the transformational impact it had on my, upbringing or learning through the LUMS period and after has been, quite gratifying. So I've gone on to do other things, I mean, in finance and whatnot, but the one sort of key skill that always comes in handy is to be entrepreneurial and, and dive in. And one doesn't do that unless one learns. So you have to have certain skills, and to enable that, if we can, do it through NOP or other programs, I think it makes all the difference in the world.
Well, Salim, before you go, there's one more question, since you're a finance wizard, which is, we had an alumnus a little while ago, was it in the afternoon? And he had just moved back from the US to Pakistan. And he said, there's so much economic opportunity in Pakistan because, let's say, $100,000 in the US may not be a lot of money, but in Pakistan, it's a lot of money. You can get a lot of work done. So tell us, is that really true? Is Pakistan perhaps, a place where economic opportunity is in abundance, or is it the US? Should people be going to the US or moving back to Pakistan?
So as a finance practitioner, I think some of you know that I've been in the industry for 25 years. I've run large private equity and hedge funds in the US and abroad, like emerging markets and whatnot. I think when you look across the world, I mean, Pakistan is one of the greatest mispriced asset, opportunities, where I think because of certain event risk fears and misperceptions, it continues to remain undervalued. So specifically from an economic opportunity perspective, I mean, I think, the opportunity is completely unparalleled. And we see that in the multiples of the startups. The startup community, if you look at it, raised more capital in 1 year than all of the, publicly listed companies on KSE did through IPOs. So, it just continues to show you, like, what that sort of size and scale and scope of that potential is. And again, look, I, like some of the other people who've said, I like to put my money where my mouth is. And, the nexus of education and entrepreneurship is important for me. I feel passionate about it. So I'm going to do something slightly different than just contributing to the NOP fund for the sake of a scholarship. I would like to set up, through LUMS and, NOP program ke andar hi umbrella mein, an entrepreneurship fellowship for outstanding NOP male student and an outstanding NOP female student every year. What that means is we'll cover them for a whole year of a minimum of a whole year of their costs, wherever is needed, so they don't have to rush to get a job. And we will also help them mentor, enable investment into them. There will be one condition. This will be going in as call it an equity investment for an earning shares agreement. I will not take anything out of it. The fund will not get anything out of it. The only requirement would be that if this NOP graduate is successful and will set a very big milestone, like, if they're very successful, they'll be required to contribute back to this fund so that others can continue to benefit from it. So inshallah, we'll start with 2 fellows a year, exclusively from the NOP program, and then inshallah continue to scale it.
And Salim, when can we expect this?
Yesterday.
When is the ribbon cutting?
Yesterday.
Excellent.
Oh, did you say ribbon cutting? Now, let me just jump in here, not only to thank Salim, but if you call it the Ahmad Fellowship, then I personally will benefit from that, Salim. So that's a wonderful initiative on your part. And in fact, maybe we can talk about some matching that can come from others who want to join you with this fantastic idea. I'd certainly be one to help promote that, but very generous of you, and a fantastic idea. I think some of the best ideas come when good people get together like we are right now. And I'm curious if we can come up with, if this is going to inspire other people to also think outside the box as you have. So thank you. Bahut shukriya aapka.
My pleasure.
And instead of calling Ahmad, if you call it A, I might also contribute. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, Dr. Zartaj Uzmi has been waiting. Dr. Zartaj is the Associate Professor at the Syed Babali School of Science and Engineering. A very warm welcome. Dr. Zartaj, it fascinates me how we live in a society, and correct me if I'm wrong, where science is a subject or a field that people shun. We don't believe in science collectively. Evidence, we don't care. Our opinions is evidence. How do you run a science school where people don't take interest socially, for instance? Tell us very briefly about, is there an influx of students? Are they inquisitive? Are they curious? Are they willing to learn?
So thank you very much, Adil. I think the history of the School of Science and Engineering, there are a lot more people who can tell about it, but very, very briefly touching upon it, I think it's an idea which was inspired about 15, 20 years ago, and made it, we started the School of Science and Engineering in 2008, and that was the first time when we started offering the 4 years bachelor's degree program in pure sciences, physics, chemistry, and biology, which are taught to engineers as a token subjects in engineering universities. They have been taught to engineering students by people who are there on an ad hoc basis, but this was the first time that we started offering these programs in the sciences discipline. And I think what I have seen in the last 12, 13 years of SSE, truly passionate students who have the willpower, who have the drive to go into sciences and engineering, have adapted those paths. So it's very difficult in a Pakistani culture for somebody to leave engineering or computer sciences, which are, quote unquote, the money earning subjects, and, choose physics or biology. But in SSE, we have seen numerous students doing that. Although the numbers are still small, I would have liked this number to be doubled, and I'm sure my colleagues in the physics, chemistry, bio departments would like these numbers to be doubled. But still, those students who choose to go into these disciplines are the ones who are really passionate about these subjects, and they have the drive. And I personally believe that if you pursue something that you truly love, then you have the possibility to reach the pinnacle. And I'm sure 10 years down the road, we would be seeing some Nobel laureates coming out of it.
I remember Razak Daud mentioning, I asked him once in a session, I asked him once, what would you want for LUMS? He said, if we could have a Nobel laureate, that would be great. So if we could do that, that would be great. That would be just fantastic, fantastic. We have 2 more alumni here. We have Sunil Sarfaraz Manj, Sunil is an MBA 2005. Very warm welcome, Sunil. And we have Azim Rizvi, MBA 1998. A very warm welcome to both of you. Azim Sab, why contribute? What's the good thing about giving back? टेलीविजन पे तो हम देखते हैं कि फलाना जो है वो ले ही रहा है, वापस नहीं को करता. But what is it about? I see so many, not I, but many people see so many alumni who graduated long time ago, and yet they feel, some string that pulls them back and they contribute. What's your story? Why give back? Why is it important?
Let me give you my personal story, and I realize it hits back home. A lot of people think once we go to LUMS and everybody's got like all the financial independence and everybody's affording. Even if you're affording, a lot of times you have your own way of looking at things in life. I come from an affording family. At that time, I applied to LUMS. But at the same time, it had, आप कह लीजिए मेरे दिमाग में भी कीड़ा था, so I just wanted to tell myself and to the family, say, okay, I want to afford myself once it comes down to the education and everything, if I can. I had got some means. At that point in time, I used to go summer, spend time with family overseas, which they were. I was raised by my grandparents in Pakistan, and then I had some money which I collected over the summer times that I spent with the family, and I did a little bit of work and supported them, and they were kind enough to give me like cash change to kind of put towards my own investments in Pakistan. So what I did was I bought actually, that's where my real estate story, which I kind of live today as well, started. I built my first home in 1993. I wasn't even a graduate back then. Based on that kind of cash that I collected and made during my summer jobs with family abroad. Once I applied to LUMS, of course, I wanted to afford myself and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I applied for a loan because my whole equity, personal equity, was locked into the home that I built. I wasn't qualified at that point in time as per se, because I had family which was affording. And of course, I had a property which I disclosed. They said, sell your home and go, pay for the LUMS. And you wouldn't believe it. I had to sell my home, my first home ever built, and I had to pay for the LUMS dues. So I just tell you that very straight up, that not everybody, for that matter, is affording once that comes to LUMS. Majority of the people come from upper middle class or even others which are to NOP program, which are not affording. At the same point in time, the commitment of LUMS from the day one has been, and that's once I applied, I had that, said, okay, I don't have a cash chain, but you know what? I'll be able to make it through. Financially is not an issue. If I'm able to qualify, I'm able to get an admission, which was like fortunate enough to do. I always considered that as a privilege. And then, you know what? Everybody is treated equally, fairly, without any financial committee was always independent of what your qualifications, credentials being. That's been the get-go mantra for LUMS. That's what kind of brings in the value of competence and value of merit and values that we cherish as honest students coming through an honest system and then applying that into real lives. Sayyid Babari once said that somebody asked me in the corporate world as to what differentiates LUMS graduate from others, not only in Pakistan, across the world. उन्होंने एक बात कही थी, I'll share with you that today, but SBA said कि LUMS का student जो है झूठ नहीं बोलेगा. So once you coming out there with an honest approach to life, you hold yourself accountable first, then you hold around the whole world accountable first. That's the approach we see a lot of times. And in that accountability spirit, I think that's where the giving starts. So then you have to not look for somebody else is going to donate, some corporation is going to donate, somebody else is going to come over, take care of the world around you, and you be selfish. You keep living the great life that you have. And that's been built on the foundation that LUMS provided us. I tell you today, like the lifestyle we live in North America, especially in our field in real estate, as Dr. Arshad can relate to that as well, is 24/7. In real estate space, this industry is cutthroat. Alhamdulillah, once we came in over here, I had the background there, but at the same time, it's a different environment. I went to the corporate ladder, went in almost all at the C level, and then I started my own passion, explored it, and then we went and hit the road with that kind of passion and the competence and all skills that LUMS told us, more so perseverance, I would call it, and tenacity, and kind of just get the job done. 3 years into the industry, this industry has been there for over 100 years, organized in this part of the world. Alhamdulillah, with the team that we had collected and the whole kind of like discipline that we had learned at LUMS, we became the top real estate team in the brokerage in the entire Canadian real estate market. It is coming from zero to that with growth on steroids, with multi-billion-dollar sales under the belt. And what accounted for that was only one principle that SBA mentioned: honesty, I'll be honest to you, in this industry, as much as you find in Pakistan and other places, this is a big ticket item in purchase. There's a lot of hanky-panky going on. Let's call the spade the way it is. The way we had it here as well, you wouldn't believe it. This industry had the same kind of culture even here. And once we coming over with this kind of value set, that was the only differentiator, believe me, we had. We told the people and the clients who knew the market were informed, that's the way it is. So these are the values I'm trying to kind of say that LUMS told us. LUMS made us who we are and the successful we are and the legacy we are continuing and enjoying the fruits and the benefits of it. Pakistan has invested in us. I come from a public school system in Pakistan, total credit to that. And then the LUMS and everything else made us who we are. It is our payback. We always try to kind of like say how we can do, what we can do. Salim is mashallah there, is doing a great job. He left a great career and then trying to serve the country and invest and set up a venture capital fund. We met at the Vice Chancellor's Alumni Achievement Award ceremony as well, connected well. But these are the kind of stories that everybody want to come back after they achieve so much. There is that kind of sense of accountability and responsibility that we got to take and say, okay, you know what? It's my chance and opportunity to continue this legacy on. It should not stop with me. And that's what, I mean, I'm looking at. Salim is doing it. All others are on this forum. And otherwise, I think alumni communities, but where we feel that there was a gap, which now Alumni Office has bridged, thanks to Nuzhat and her team, want to give her credit for that, that for some period of time, we had the same kind of like problem with our organization. Once you have growth on steroids, everything is going good and great. You don't have to go back to the people who were actually part of, alumni community as much actively. We didn't used to go back to our clients because the clients were coming back to us all the times. Same thing right now. I think because the alumni community has expanded so much and exploded globally, this was a high time with Dr. Arshad's involvement, with Nuzhat's involvement, with alumni like Salim and others. Sunil is there as well. I see him. And mashallah, I mean, we got stories to tell to the world now, not only to Pakistan. That LUMS is an institution which is world-class institution. I had an opportunity to sit in the Harvard class. I had an opportunity to sit in Richard Ivey School of Business in leadership programs. And I can tell you that the experience I had LUMS was not short of any of those institutions. And the only thing they had was they had a more diverse alumni body, the more student alumni body, which was diverse, and more even the faculty pool, which is diverse. But other than that, our community, we as students, we learned from each other a whole lot as part of the system we had in MBA, the case study method than anybody else. This was the mantra of LUMS. LUMS brought in together, I think, the most competitive, the best of the best. And if there are people who have the competence and opportunity, and if they're short of funds, it is our responsibility now. I think we need to take the reins and responsibility as alumni to support them, because I think we are, as an alumni body, that strong now. Harvard is going to a place whereby they don't want to have anybody pay for any fees, whether even they are able to afford it, because they want to challenge the talent around the world. They want to collect the talent around the world. They don't want to have the people kind of shy away from it, just assuming that they can't afford it. So this is the way I look at it. This is the way I feel about it, and just spoke my mind out. That's it.
Thank you for your insight. Key word, and trust Babar Saab to use the key word honesty. A LUMS student will not lie, will always be honest, in addition to many other things. But before I go to Sunil, 1 second, I need to go to Nuzhat, because Nuzhat has some names that we'd like to be announced, people who have pledged and contributed. Nuzhat, over to you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to announce that we are now at 32 million. And Abir, Hamid, Sara Parvez, and Kamal Rizvi are the latest donors to the campaign. So thank you so much.
Just this afternoon, out of nowhere, Nuzhat and I were discussing how much would we be able to raise. There was no number in our heads, so we thought, okay, since it's the 35th year of LUMS, 35 million would be a good number to begin with, to begin with. So we're at 32. We're 32. We're close. So Salim, we'll need your help, in the next 8 minutes if we don't touch 35 million. But before that, Sunil is here. Sunil, sorry to have kept you waiting.
32.
Sunil, tell us your story. What drove you to become a donor or to mobilize people and say, you know what, we need to give back to LUMS? What happened?
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I would like to clarify that I'm not only MBA 2005, I was BSc 2002 as well. So I joined LUMS when I was like 18, and my relationship with LUMS is, I can word it out in a way that 2/3 of my life is spent as alumni rather than 1/3 which was without the LUMS. And if somebody was asking me the other day that there's COVID around the world, what's your blood group? I said it's LUMS positive. So I have been, whatever I am today or whatever I have achieved in my life is owed to LUMS, and I have been associated with the Alumni Association, SGSV Alumni Association for last like 12 years now. Right now I'm the vice president. I have been working day in, day out with Nuzhat and Dr. Arshad also, and they have been trying really hard. And we as a group of alumni have been trying to raise money as well as give back to LUMS in more than monetary ways, as Salim earlier mentioned, that NICL and the community that we are trying to mentor people, because I'm one of the old lords, the people who have been working on their own from day one. And I think the value system that was inculcated in us by LUMS, especially Sayyid Babar Ali Saab, that the integrity that been instilled to us is like the primary goal we have achieved in our lives. And I would like to mention that I keep telling people that whenever I meet alumni or my alma mater at anywhere in the world, the one thing which is common across the board is the integrity that we as a LUMS graduate carry with us. And about giving back to LUMS, I think मैं हमेशा example देता हूँ, तो मैं अगर because I have been living in Lahore all my life, तो मैं कभी सिग्नल पे खड़ा हूँ या कहीं भी खड़ा हूँ and I look at people around us, कहीं ना कहीं मुझे alumni नजर आए थे, और मुझे उस जमाने का वो alumni नजर आता है जब मुझे याद आता है कि वो LUMS जब आता था तो वो टी ब्लॉक की एक स्ट्रीट है उसमें वॉक करके आ रहा था। और अब अगर आप उनको देखें, बिकॉज आई बिलोंग टू इंडस्ट्री विच इज द कार इंडस्ट्री, तो मैं देखता हूँ, मैं गाड़ियों को बहुत ज्यादा नोटिस करता हूँ। So all of them are driving in fancy cars, and this is the value which LUMS has given to us. हम एक LUMS में अगर जब आते थे और एक बस पे आते थे, और आज अगर हम तमाम एक lavish lifestyle afford करते हैं, तो I think we owe it to LUMS, and all of us here will can see the impact LUMS has given to our lives. Especially अगर मैं अपनी बात करूं कि पार्क व्हील जो है वो एक कंपनी स्टार्ट हुई थी 2 लोगों से एक घर के अंदर से back in 2003 when I just graduated out of LUMS from BSc and joined MBA in 2003 and graduated in 2005. और आज अगर मैं देखूं कि we have like 280 people in all together in Park Wheels, और वो सारा impact जो है अगर मेरे थ्रू जा रहा है तो all the credit is due to LUMS। मैं और उस बात के लिए हम हमेशा ही कहता हूं कि जब भी मेरी LUMS को जरूरत पड़ेगी किसी भी टाइम पे I'm always there.
Thank you, Sunil. Dr. Arshad, are you there? We need 2 more minutes. I know you have other commitments. It's early morning there, so you can have your breakfast. Nobody's watching. No, I'm just kidding. So all the alumni who are part of this telethon, we still have 3 more, and those of them who were with us in the afternoon, and people who are watching, what would you say to them? What was the Vice Chancellor say to them? This is a journey. How would you urge, inspire them to give more, give a day to LUMS?
Adil, can I jump in here for 1 sec?
Sure, please, sure.
I think that in itself will be telling how Dr. Arshad does things. So, I just announced the fellowship, the Entrepreneurship Fellowship. So, he asked me on WhatsApp, what does that mean? I said, whatever it takes. So I said, let's start with a minimum of 2 million. And he backed it up by saying he'll put 1 million into it. He'll match it. So we've got 3, and we've got you to your 35. So that's the man you're talking to, Arshad Ahmed. And, I thought I should interject and state the fact. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, that's kind of embarrassing. Well, thank you, Salim. I'm just overwhelmed. I don't think I can inspire anybody here other than the other way around. I mean, I'm just inspired having listened to you for a couple of hours now. I don't know where those 2 hours went. It seems like 2 minutes, really. Such beautiful stories of where your own, journey began and where you are now and what you intend to do. It's like asking someone कि आप अपनी family के लिए क्या करेंगे? I think the sky is the limit. 2 चीजें होती हैं दुनिया में जो सब universal values हैं. एक तो family होती है और दूसरी कि फिर वो family आपकी खुद की जो होगी उसको आप किस तरह how will you enable them to succeed, right? Whether it's your own children or ones that you love or you are close to. I think this is the common thread in our conversation today is we are talking about a family. And this family has no boundaries, it has no limits, it has no destination. It just has a lot of goodwill to sustain a story that we want to continue. All of us want to do something to make sure that 30 years from now, 35 years from now, a similar celebration is taking place. And in that celebration, that we not only acknowledge and congratulate each other, but also recognize कि इसकी वजह क्या है? Why are we doing this? You know, this is not so we make another building or we put some flashy, technology around the walls or renovate something. This is about the soul of the country. I think that everyone has already spoken to. It's about the transformations you heard from Azim, you heard from Sunil. It's the kind of life stories that not only affected them, but they affected their individual families and then the communities that they are serving. It's a story about Salim, who's giving up a lot of opportunity he has, and he said, okay, he'll help us out for a couple of months until we stabilize. And there was no obligation for him to now. He's doing it for a year, over a year now, and more. His involvement is the kind of role modeling that I think a lot of other alumni want to do, and they just need to know that this is possible at LUMS. It's possible now. We have something called a Student Partners Program. This is another way in which you can engage students, either through giving them internships or mentoring them, or simply we are taking every organizational unit within the university. It could be the HR department, it could be admissions, it could be finance, it could be any of the schools. Obviously, Zartash Saab is here. He is a great mentor. I think if there's a role model for mentoring, no one does it better than Zartash. And so students are the ones who need these kind of opportunities to truly partner, not become, not serve water and do trivial jobs, but to give them a sense of responsibility to become co-authors, co-designers, co-presenters, co-leaders in this academic enterprise. And we are so privileged to be part of this very vibrant ecosystem, which is like a little, छोटा सा शहर है. मैं family कहता हूँ, और वो family को अगर आप जोड़ते जाएं, तो ये बन जाता है 5,500 लोग मिल के एक दूसरे के साथ रहते हैं, इज्जत करते हैं, values पे ज़्यादा जोर है, content पे कम है. I think that's a lesson learned from all educational institutions, that the thing that you can impart to people for the rest of their life is a thirst for curiosity and learning, and the values you bring, such as the ones Azim mentioned of honesty, and Shahryar Saab mentioned earlier about hard work, and someone else said connecting the dots. And I think those are the things that matter to people. Family matters, and what we are here to do is simply talk about how we can nourish this family and continue it to take it to new heights. So I'm ever so grateful. I know Ali Farid, Bashir Saab, and there are more people who have come before and who are going to continue joining us. It's wonderful to see the numbers go up, and believe me, that is important. But beyond the kind of transactional way in which we want to raise funds, this is something that we have to just embrace as a mindset for a way of life, for a way of doing things. So it's not so much as a responsibility or obligation, but it's more so, to me at least, it's more about the kind of pleasure you get. You want to do this, and you want to do this in a way where it's going to be much bigger than you, because we are in stages of our life where we are thinking about the next generation and the generations that follow. And if we don't do our part, then who will? So thank you so much for inviting me. I'm afraid I do have to leave. I have another engagement that I'm a little over time, but it's been an absolute pleasure for me to learn from all of your stories. Thank you so much, Nuzhat and the team you introduced earlier on. Of course, I know everybody, but it's good to see their faces. It's good to see that they are not only in the background, but they are the ones interfacing with our alumni. I leave you with one other thought, if I may, Adil. Mm-hmm. And that thought has to do with governance. So we talk about involvement of alumni, one of the key ways alumni need to be involved is through governance. Because आपको पता है कि academics तो गाड़ी चलाते हैं, लेकिन they are in the business of knowledge creation. They are in the business of disseminating knowledge. They are not necessarily interested in administration. That is something that comes to people like me, and then of course academics who come to a certain stage in their careers. But there are many opportunities at the board level, trustee level, at the advisory board level, at leadership levels, as Salim is demonstrating. And then, of course, the way in which you hire people, of course, and various interactions you have. I think LUMS is going to be there forever if its alumni take up the governance issue very seriously and take interest in running this place, and not just having a sort of an arm's length relationship. And so we need numbers, more numbers. We have alumni achievement award winners, as amongst us today: Sunil, Salim, Azim, others. But beyond award winners and superstars like you guys are, we need to have a bond that is unbreakable, and that happens when you start running the institution itself. So at some point in time, I think the university will be run by alumni in many different ways, as it is now, but it has to grow and strengthen. And that is the secret sauce, I believe, for institutions' longevity, is how alumni get involved. So I leave you with some of those thoughts, and I thank you very much. बहुत शुक्रिया आपका.
Just one thing, Dr. Arshad, I'd just like to say that Saad Munawwar, who's like the president of the STSPD United Association, and Ali Fareed and Bashir, they're all donors to the campaign. So I thought maybe you could thank them on LUMS' behalf.
Gee, I don't see them on. Absolutely. I mean, Saad, I'm looking forward to working with you. I don't know if he's on the participant list with us. Oh, yes, he is. There he is. Okay, I see you now. Assalamu alaikum, Saad Saab. Gee, absolutely. I can't wait to come back and physically meet with you now that COVID may or may not permit that. That remains a question mark, but we will make it happen. Absolutely. Thank you all, every single one of you. I acknowledge you. I'm very grateful on behalf of all of the deans, the provosts, the directors, the faculty members, especially. Bahut shukriya aapka, and really look forward to interacting and working with all of you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Saab, thank you. But you may leave. You have an engagement, but we still have 3 more alumni. We're not done with our alumni. Last but not least, we have Bashir Khaja, BSc 1999, Ali Fareed Khaja, BSc 2003 and 2004, and Saad Munawwar, MBA 2006. I can start with anyone. Ali Fareed Khaja, why do this? Why contribute?
The same things which all the other people have said, that it's a family, so it's not it doesn't feel like a contribution to an external body. It's like, just a part of the community. So just getting invited over here was a pleasure, and Adil, I must thank you for doing this session. I know you have been doing it for a very long time, and just seeing my friends here, Dr. Zartash, Saad Munawwar, Sunil, it gives me happiness. So LUMS is a source of happiness. Even thought of LUMS is a source of happiness for us.
Wonderful. Source of happiness. What a wonderful term to remember your university by. Bashir Khaja, tell us your inspiration or your drive to be a part of this campaign. Bashir, we can't hear you. Are you muted or unmuted? Or Ali Naqvi, can you please check Bashir Khaja's microphone?
Can you hear me now?
Ji, we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I think contribution जो है वो तो सबको करनी है. Yes, हम LUMS से पढ़े हैं, एक एसोसिएशन है, लेकिन उससे ज़्यादा जो बेस्ट यूज़ है हमारी contributions का वो ये है कि हम किसी को तालीम दे सकें, क्योंकि that is something that nurtures more and more benefit going on. वो एक one time help नहीं होती, वो एक recurring help हो जाती है. तो that is of course, और LUMS एक इदारा है जो ये पूरा प्रोग्राम चला रहा है, and it is a trustworthy institution. So it just makes all the reasons to contribute to this program.
Saad and PepsiCo, what was the need when people go into the corporate sector? Many people, I shouldn't say most, I say many people, then they get involved in the numbers and the profitability and the rate of return and the PowerPoints and the whatevers. But you wanted to stay connected with LUMS and mobilize people. Why? What was the drive? What was the inspiration?
Right. Thank you, Adil, for giving me the opportunity, and thank you also to everyone else. I'm glad to have at least a couple of very old faces, friends on the call. And Nuzhat, thank you there. Adil, I can talk on this like for the entire night. I don't want to bore you with that. Nuzhat knows, how passionately we as a body feel as well. Sunil talked about it. But just to, in a nutshell, I've also kind of like Sunil spent 6 years. I did my undergrad in 2003. I did my MBA in 2006. Look, at the end of the day, I can tell you this, that right now, I think one of the best decisions, and let me kind of take you quickly to a memory lane, because 1999, I had an option to go abroad. I got a couple of good admissions there, and my family wanted me to stay back, and LUMS was like my backup option. And honestly, I think that was the best decision I made at that point in time. And I think usme jo Bashir ne bhi baat ki hai, the point is that within Pakistan, right now, the kind of networking, the alumni association, the kind of people, right at the top of the businesses and private sectors and entrepreneurs, most of them come from institutions like LUMS. While we in our own capacity are trying to help them, kind of bring them to the fold of the companies and give them that limelight, the best thing that we can do is that tomorrow, when we kind of are kind of reaching the twilight of our careers, have we made any contribution for someone else to come and take that opportunity? And LUMS is the best institution to do that. Now, if we are in some shape or form able to create another Sunil or Ali or Bashir or Saad Munawar, 10 years, 20 years down the line, that's a contribution we have made. So मेरा तो हमेशा अपनी body को भी यही message होता है and council को भी usually कि just imagine that tomorrow somebody else has to take your place. So are you cultivating today for someone who doesn't have the opportunity to be here and sitting 10 years, 20 years down the line to be having the same conversations and making the same decisions that you're making today? So I think it's an obligation, and we look at it that way as well.
Fantastic. It has been most enlightening for me on a personal level. That's it from me. Nuzhat, over to you for the final number and a final word of thanks to all the alumni, young and not so old.
Well, I think this has been a great telethon, and like we were talking about this, and we were saying that it's the 35th year of LUMS, and what if we take the funds to 35 million rupees. It's so interesting that Salim and Dr. Arshad together have taken it to that figure. And I'm so grateful to Salim. Thank you so much, Salim, for doing this. And of course, thank you to Dr. Arshad as well. And we've just received an amazing donation of $10,000 from Zahra Zaidi, Sadia Zaidi, and Ammar Zaidi, who are 3 siblings from LUMS. So I don't know, iski conversion karke, and then we can add it to that. So we've gone beyond our target, and I'm so happy and I'm so grateful to all the alumni who've really, come forward to support this. And, we, inshallah, this will be an annual exercise, and we're hoping that this time there's a certain number of alumni who donated. Next time, there will be a much larger number of alumni coming forward to be part of this. But, having said that, thank you so much to Salim, Bashir, Khwaja. Bashir, कैसे हैं आप? तो आपसे बहुत अरसे बाद मुलाकात हो रही है.
जी, I'm good. आप कैसी हैं?
बिल्कुल ठीक ठाक. Thank you so much. So a big thank you to Azim and Ali Fareed, of course, and Saad Munawar, and all the alumni who came in the afternoon session as well. And thank you, Zartash, for being here as well. And of course, Adil, a big thank you to you. I mean, you've been, an amazing partner in all our LUMS live sessions also, and this fantastic, the way that you conducted the telethon today. A very, very special thank you to you. Just give me 1 minute. My team is telling me that they're sharing the final number with me, and if you could give me just 1 minute, I'll be able to do that. So if you want to, आप कोई हमें अच्छा सा एक शेर सुना दे जाते जाते, मेरे ख्याल में तो बहुत अच्छा हो जाएगा.
शेर ये है कि trust Nuzhat to put me on the spot. फैज साहब का शेर सुना देता हूँ आपको. हल्का किए बैठे रहो इस शमा को यारो, कुछ रोशनी बाकी तो है, हर चंद के कम है। तो इस मुल्क में अभी रोशनी बाकी है, हर चंद के कम है, लोग ज्यादा हैं, लेकिन हम वो जितनी है उसको बचा कर रखेंगे, उसको बचा कर रखेंगे।
Okay, so this last contribution is we've got another big contribution from Sohail Khan as well, and so my team is just giving us the final number. You'll have to wait for that. So you can continue with your shari, or maybe some alumni need
If I can add a couple of things there. We were talking about Bashir and Saad as well. I think a great way of also sharing the legacy of education. That's what we're trying to do today. In the same spirit, I would definitely like to offer Nuzhat and the team, if anybody for that matter is coming to this side of the border, the Canada for that matter, a lot of people are coming. We're happy as an organization, which we're expanding, to bring them in the fold. We had alumni who've been part of our organization, who are part of the organization in different roles, and would like to offer any internships or any of the projects, MBA projects that they would like to conduct in order to ascertain the knowledge and experience and expertise. And another thing I would like to share with you, because being there in politics, I was as you know, part of the team Trudeau in 2015, contested the federal election as well for member of parliament. And I have seen the trend coming to that kind of like education that had gone in political stream, that everybody's shifting the immigration policies in Canada towards student body now. So all the people they're trying to bring in now, instead of bringing immigrants, they're trying to bring in students. This whole lot of emphasis is coming in there, and other countries like India are taking a lot of huge advantage of that. If anybody's interested in that education and learning and understanding like we did and Salim did and everybody from this part of the world, and take that legacy back like Salim did and others to Pakistan, it's a great opportunity to come on over, learn, and we are happy to open our doors to those kind of opportunities. But definitely we need to educate our people how to get into the system, make some connections, and we're trying to make that strides through Nuzhat's involvement and our VC subs involvement, try to open and create those bridges between the institutions over here as well. In addition to that, I would like to offer what Salim offered as well in that spirit, and we'll talk about the modalities of that. As an organization, I'd like to offer that any of the alumni who do business in future with us, all the profit that we make as an organization on these transactions is going to be donated to LUMS. And that's what we like to also put some modalities around. I'd love to kind of do it under whichever fellowship, entrepreneurship, otherwise we can like frame it under and put some kind of framework, but I'll definitely like to kind of share that. Thank you.
So I think
मैं कुछ ऐड करना चाहूँ.
जी please.
So I think LUMS में मुझे 20 साल हो गए, and I have had this opportunity कि ऐसे smart लोगों के साथ काम करने का मौका मिला. All the LUMS alumni, whether they were 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago, extremely talented, extremely bright, and this is a different color that I'm seeing from the LUMS alumni. They are making sure that anyone out there does not miss out on this fantastic education that LUMS provides. So truly, amazed by the contributions made by the LUMS family. इससे ये भी जाहिर होता है कि LUMS के जो alumni हैं, graduate होने के बाद भी जो है वो LUMS की family का हिस्सा ही रहते हैं, और ये family increase होती जा रही है. तो बहुत शुक्रिया. Thank you very much.
अदील एक और शेयर की जरूरत है. We have, okay, I have the final figure. Okay, guys, this is 38,139,000 rupees. So we've exceeded the target. So thank you so much to all the alumni, and thank you to all of you. And once again, thank you, Adil. Thank you so much for your help with this.
God bless you all. LUMS, तुम सलामत रहो 1000 बरस. हर बरस के हों दिन 50,000. May LUMS live for hundreds of years. God bless you. Anyone who's watching, anyone who's not watching, God bless you. Please look after yourself. Please keep contributing. Please keep this ये जो शमा है इसको जलने दें. And like I said earlier on, very quickly, it is a process, it is a journey, and not a destination. So make sure that you continue. Thank you all. God bless you. Stay safe, stay happy. Pakistan Zindabad. Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you.
Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you.